Here we go, Davey Dave. New kind of show this week, player.
New show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Let's Get Into Entertainment.
The Business of Entertainment.
That's what's up, homie.
There we go. That's take number 2, by the way. Robert's.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to hear the first one and say, you guys jacked up.
He's going to cut it. He's going to probably use that one because that's how he is. But,
he's not here today.
We're missing him, yeah.
We are missing him. He's a dear part of the show.
Yeah, and ironically, this would be the show I think that he would benefit the most from.
I think so, man. Being that every show is, yeah, you're right. He's going to miss because we have a very special guest today.
Yeah, we got Matthew Helderman from Buffalo 8 and BondIt. Yeah, they pretty much do like across the board from production to post to financing to distribution, the whole bit. And I can honestly say that I've been following this dude's career now since like 2010 when I read about him. And he's had an explosion. Like, he's doing so much stuff. In fact, we were supposed to interview him last Thursday, and there was some type of mix-up. But he sends me an email saying, "Hey, man, I'm in Puerto Rico with De Niro. Are we scheduled for Monday?" And I said, "No, we're scheduled for like an hour."
Oh,
so
that's right.
We ended up rescheduling today, and Diva Roberts had plans.
Well, I'm glad it worked out because I'm excited to hear what this guy has to say.
Yeah, well,
he's got a lot of good info.
A lot of good stuff. So let's get him on the phone.
The wait is over. New episodes of The Walking Dead Season 10 are premiering early, February 21st on AMC+. Don't miss the extended 10th season featuring 6 new episodes, each focused on fan-favorite characters. Prepare for all new high-stakes showdowns and emotional reckonings by catching up on the latest season before new episodes drop. With season binges, exclusive content, and early access to new episodes, the best Walking Dead experience is only on AMC+. Get lost in the Walking Dead universe today. Available ad-free and on demand. Sign up at amcplus.com. AMC Plus. Only the good stuff.
Matthew?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Thanks for coming on the show, man. You're on with Rod Rinks and Davey Dave. We were just talking about, I was telling Davey Dave here how your first company you started back in 2010 was it Buffalo 8?
Buffalo 8?
Buffalo 8. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan because I've seen your career just really kind of explode. Which is really dope, man.
I appreciate it. Been hard work, but appreciate it. We're having fun. That's for sure.
Yeah. So our podcast is about independent filmmaking and the parallels with the entrepreneur spirit, because basically a film is an entrepreneur endeavor,
Of course.
And man, I'm so excited to have you on because I've honestly been thinking about when we started this podcast over a year ago. I was like, man, this guy would be a great guest to have.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on the show. If you can kind of get into like the origins and what got you into this, because you've had a really successful career, and I think our audience and myself and David Dave would love to hear all about it.
Yeah, please.
I think the sort of high and the low of it is I grew up in Connecticut. My family was in the institutional finance businesses. So my dad started and ran a private equity firm in Connecticut, where that's pretty common. Certainly in sort of Fairfield County outside of Manhattan, where the finance industry is sort of the driving part of the economy. And so I was fortunate enough to grow up in and around pretty intellectual, both finance as well as business leadership and thought and so on. And I was always interested in it. And I think sort of the osmosis of it, you sort of just take in, having the opportunity to have some pretty great internships at places like the New York Stock Exchange, or working for the Kellogg family, or being an assistant to people that go on to have serious jobs in government, or serious jobs within Merrill Lynch and what have you. And so getting access to that at a young age, I knew I was interested in business, interested in finance, but I also was obsessed with content. And I was really obsessed with filmmaking and filmmakers and the history of film and filmmakers, and really sort of fell into becoming a cinephile through just absorbing a ton of content, and then getting really deep into European film, and then really deep into Asian cinema. In college, double focus my studies on film and philosophy on one side and economics on the other. And I guess I was in my sophomore and my junior year of undergrad, and I had read an article about a kid back in New York who had shot a film for $25,000 and sold it to IFC for something like $1 million. And I thought that, I can do that. And Buffalo 8 was sort of born out of the genesis of sort of becoming out of just the audience perspective and wanted to actually participate and make a piece of content. And so the filmmakers, I was obsessed with them. The Wes Anderson, the Noah Baumbach, the Woody Allen. I was very into that kind of film. Not to say I'm not anymore, but I was really obsessed with it then. And I launched Buffalo 8 just as in between my junior and senior year. Launched Buffalo 8 just to hold the single picture liability of that one project. Raised a small amount of money, shot this feature, and Luke, my now business partner, had grown up with my wife, my then girlfriend, since they were literally 3 and 4 years old, back in Connecticut. And Luke was at USC in the entertainment business program. So he joined me out in Chicago where we made that movie in between our junior and senior year summer. And that was really the birth of Buffalo 8. So we finished that film, and then I came out to LA in March during my senior year March break to take distribution and sales company meetings. It was the first time I'd ever been to Los Angeles. And so you're sort of learning in real time that there's this gigantic industry that really very few people back east have any real understanding of what it even is. It's just sort of this thing out in LA that for better and for worse, people just have such a bad connotation back east about what this industry is, rightfully and wrongfully. And I think that trip really sort of cemented the idea of, okay, when I graduate, we're going to take Buffalo 8 and it's going to become sort of this thing that we build off of. At that point, we had a feature film that we were going to sell and take to film festivals and use it as sort of a marketing hook to build Buffalo 8. And the Buffalo 8 turned 10 years old last year. And it's been a crazy 10-year ride. And during that time, I can go super deep into any part you'd like, but I think over that time, we've produced close to 100 pieces of film and TV. We've had premieres at Sundance, South by, Toronto, Berlin, Cannes. We've worked with people like Spike Lee on Netflix originals, and we've made shitty Hallmark movies and everything sort of in between. And along that growth, recognized a few years in the need to really control as much of the process as we could, and the only way to do that would be to raise capital. But everyone we knew that had raised capital in the film business had raised it in an equity-like structure, and then they lost it all. And so it took a little while to sort of feel out what BondIt would ultimately become, and it filled the void, frankly, that had been left by the banks and left by the void of hedge funds that no longer could do deals at a certain size, especially when you could make a $10 million movie now for $3 million because technology had advanced so rapidly. And so you sort of look at BondIt and say, BondIt's now a 7-year-old company here in Santa Monica, and that company has done about 320 film and TV financings directly with our own capital, ranging from really big studio co-financing deals with people like Roland Emmerich on movies like Midway, all the way to the Oscar-nominated Loving Vincent on the Vincent van Gogh animated film from 3 years ago, to big sort of action, the Bruce Willis and Stallone and Schwarzenegger type content. And BondIt definitely is sort of the engine of everything we do, and it's definitely what has given so much momentum to the rest of the businesses here. And I guess the third piece is, as BondIt was growing, we had an opportunity to buy ABS Payroll, 30-year-old entertainment payroll company in Burbank. And so we purchased that company. And so today, Luke and myself oversee about 40 employees across the three companies that sort of work together in a variety of ways, but they can also work independently of one another. And there are 3 different offices here in Los Angeles.
Okay, 2 questions. First one is, when do I get to come pitch you? And second one, Dave needs a gig. No, I'm kidding. That is such an amazing story, and that's kind of what our audience, that's what we're all about. Like, this podcast started because Mark Roberts, who's the host, who decided to take the day off because of whatever reason, which I was saying this would be the most important interview for him to talk with you about, because he's been in the business for 30 years. He's an independent filmmaker. He's raised somewhere around 60 or 40 million privately without a bank.
Right.
And he's just a great guy, great producer. And one day, him and I worked for the TV show Extra. I'm a makeup artist as my day job, but I'm also a filmmaker. And him and I would argue about how much it would cost to make a film, because I would said I can make a movie for 10 grand. He said, there's no way you can make a movie for 10 grand. And so that started the storyline of this podcast, because I went out and made this movie. It came out to be a little more than 10 grand, but it was, it turned out really well. I'm in post-production. I'm about 2 weeks away from delivering. But you're right, man. Like, you could go out and you could make stuff that would have cost $3 million however many years ago for a lot less now. Like you said, what, $1 million for a $3 million film, and have it look like a $3 million film. So it's your story is super inspiring for myself, and I believe for Davey Day here. Of course. It's pretty much. But you said you guys do everything, because I follow you guys on social and everything. Like I said, Matt, I've been following your career since 2010 probably. You do everything from, like, I talked to you on Thursday and you were in Puerto Rico with De Niro.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, it was pretty unbelievable. We do. I mean, I think Buffalo 8 is across both development, production, post-production, and then about a year and a half ago, we got into the distribution business as well directly. And so Buffalo 8 really does have a hand in each stage of project life cycle. And then the BondIt side, we just by nature of having financing, permanent financing with some pretty big shareholders and institutional capital partners at BondIt, it gives us an interesting perspective, because we're seeing, I'm not exaggerating when I say we probably get presented close to 1,500 inbound financing opportunities every year.
Wow.
And it's film, TV, sports, digital content, short form, long form, music, live events, and it literally spans across all media. And that was always the goal. Certainly over the last number of years, it's been, can we have a hand in media in a more broad sense, especially as it's now so interconnected and intertwined with actors running businesses and entrepreneurs wanting to be performers, what have you. It's such an inner work system, and so providing capital to that has allowed us to see a lot of different deals. And like the De Niro comment, you get to spend time and be involved in some really amazing projects as a result of it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And you guys even do, I saw something, you guys are in the podcast business now too, correct?
Yeah, so BondIt had financed a number of podcast companies, podcast platforms.
Yeah.
One of our biggest clients, sort of think of them like maker studios for podcasts. And their company just grew like crazy. Totally bootstrapped, had never raised equity. But the company was 6 or 7 years old, but they were approaching $10 to $12 million of revenue a year. And really impressive company. And they were probably one step away from being a candidate for a traditional bank facility. And we came in and provided them corporate capital to allow them to grow and allow them to sign basically extended contracts with a handful of their podcast hosts that people like Spotify and Stitcher were trying to poach. So they needed some capital to lock those hosts down. And in doing that deal, we said that we'd like to launch a podcast on the Buffalo 8 side, basically a podcast interviewing and talking with different people we've met over the years that have been involved in the green lighting of really big pieces of content. So you think things like Hook or American Psycho or I, Tonya, or huge pieces of content that sort of everyone knows, and have them launch it because they're direct with iTunes and Stitcher and Google and so on, and they have a huge marketing network and an ad sales team. And so that was another perfect example of BondIt was the driver to originate that relationship and the opportunity to provide their business that growth capital. But then ultimately Buffalo 8 was able to also mutually benefit by launching a podcast on the back of it. And the podcast went on to have tens and tens of thousands of plays over the last year or so.
Right.
That's awesome, man. Amazing. And so do you take like open pitches? So say for instance, a filmmaker who's in, I don't know, Nebraska, he's got a concept, he's got an idea, he's got a deck, he's got a script. Would he be able to send it to you guys, or how would it go about for like a filmmaker, not somebody in Hollywood, not somebody connected? Because I know you guys go across the board, you said. So what would be a best way for somebody to get to you guys?
Yeah, we would. That's a great question. And I think The answer is the door is definitely open, and I think we built it purposefully for it to be that way and to feel that way. I also think we've made pieces of content that have come from a total no-name writer who's never done something before, or a no-name producer that goes on and gets made, and we set up somewhere or what have you. In terms of getting in touch with us, info@buffalo8.com goes to all of the analysts that are looking at inbounds, and the same thing with info@bondit.us. There's team members that are literally just reviewing inbound opportunities all the time, and so it's very much an open door policy. And I think we're always willing to look at projects.
I think you're going to get a couple emails after this interview, by the way.
Well, no, I'm back in. I got to tell you, back in 2000, probably 10, 11.
Yeah.
I think I don't think I reached out, and you guys were pretty receptive. Like you said, okay, well, I didn't have anything yet. I had a concept. I hadn't written a script or a deck or anything, but I couldn't believe it. So, but I wasn't sure if that was still the case because, like I said, you guys are doing some great stuff. Yeah. But across the board, from I don't want to say low budget, but smaller budgets to big things with big action stars, which is amazing, dude. I'm really, congratulations on all the success.
No, I appreciate it. And I think what's funny is Luke and I had worked, especially when Buffalo was founded, we were physically on sets day in, day out, physically making content as ADs, and then worked our way up to production managers. And then Buffalo 8 just became a full-on production company that people would hire out. And we were making movies at $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 on volume. And today, I think that I look at even last year or the year before, on the BondIt side, consistently we're financing probably, let's call it 50 to 60 film deals per year. Wow. The average film size is still only a few $1 million per film. There are some outliers that are 20 and 30 and $40 million movies, but there's still a handful of production companies we work with that they're making 5 to 7 Hallmark or Sci-Fi or NBC Universal or RLJ type movies every single year. And so to us, yes, there's definitely a point at which it becomes too low budget for us to sort of make sense of it. Right. But there's not sort of the closing of the door, because I think the reality of making content now is we make things for so cheap, and it can still be a great piece of business and a great piece of content. But we have, on the BondIt side, we have clients that make content for YouTube or Instagram or Facebook Watch, and they're not getting into traditional filmmaking, quote unquote, but they're creating content that's seen by significantly more people oftentimes than the content being made by certain films that we do. So it's an interesting time, I think, to be producing and financing products, because there's so many different platforms and formats that can ultimately make sense for an audience.
Yeah. Is there a particular genre that you guys are, attracted to? Like horror, thriller, coming of age? What kind of genres are you looking for these days?
Because Robert's over here, he's not here to defend himself, but I'm a big coming of age fan. I think everybody has gone through it. I think that's why they resonate so well. I think for indies, they just do it. He won't read my coming of age. He's like, he's I don't know what it is, and him and I are really close.
Maybe it's too close to home for him.
Maybe, but his best story that he has is a coming of age that he hasn't, said. But we had a guy. We had Clay Epstein on last week, who's from Film Mode, who's a distributor, and he was kind of telling us that what was it, David? Horror action,
and thriller. Yeah.
What do you guys? Is it same for you guys over there? Or do you guys go across the board with pretty much anything?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Clay's a good buddy, and actually has an output deal with BondIt. So we do a fair amount of financing with Clay. I just wrapped up a project with him, the Slayers project that he may or may not have mentioned, that we did with MGM.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, literally it wrapped, I think last week. So I think a week ago, Tuesday. So it just wrapped. Wow. And I think the reality is that from a personal perspective, in terms of what we're interested in, I think it's pretty broad. I mean, I think we're probably interested in most genres. I mean, if something's well executed, whether it's a musical or whether it's a found footage piece of horror content, if it's really well executed, it can be excellent. Yeah. I think the challenge is we're all sort of handcuffed to the realities of what buyers want.
Right.
And we have distribution outputs with people like the Lionsgates of the world and the Verticals of the world. They very much dictate because of where the audience and the consumers are. They dictate what is and is not commercially viable, especially if you're a financing company.
Yeah.
And so for us, I look at, I'd say thriller, action, some sci-fi, but it has to be high-level sci-fi, elevated sci-fi. But it's really thriller, action, horror only if it's elevated horror. Horror doesn't really work on sort of a standalone basis, really has to be elevated. And then I think, unfortunately, things like comedy or dramas or biopics or sports content, it's all really, really tough because it only works domestically.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have a big international market. And I think unless you're going to go set up a project at Netflix and have them do a worldwide all rights acquisition deal, you're really handcuffed to what the domestic distributors want and need.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of what Clay was saying, and pretty much everybody that we come across who's in the business, kind of, those are really what they shoot for.
Just had to double check Mark Roberts.
Yeah, we just had to double check him. Although I still love my coming of age.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's good.
Wow, man. This has been great. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Matthew. And, I'd love to get you back on when Roberts is here because I know he's going to have some questions for you. And I know he's going to kick himself for not being here.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I appreciate you guys coming on the show. And I want to be in contact because I got some ideas I want to run by you.
There you go.
If that's cool.
Pleasure to do it. Happy to be a resource. Again, people can find us on info@buffalo8.com or info@bondit.us, and the team members can just coordinate from there. And again, it's very much an open door.
Yeah,
very nice,
awesome, man. Well, Matthew, thank you so much. Congratulations. Yeah, man. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Have a good one. Thank you so much, man.
You too.
I really like Homeboy.
Yeah, he's got, man, this, I was looking up his company earlier. Like, they do a lot of projects, man. They got their hands in a lot of things, which is really cool. And it does go across the board. So it doesn't leave anybody out. And even, it goes all the way down from social media to, mega $1 million films.
And what was a trip is when he said that, I remembered, because I remember reading about him, but the interesting thing about Matthew is that he has a creative and the financing background.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he is a creative dude. Like, filmmaking, he studied that. He dove into that world because he liked it.
Yeah.
But then he also has the financial mind. So it's like a force to be reckoned with. And I love the fact that he's open, because a lot of these, let's face it, Hollywood's, it's a very, I don't want to say a closed door type of business, but you're kind of looked up, if you don't really have a lot behind you, credential or credibility and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to talk to certain people. It's just the way it is.
Very true.
And we know firsthand because we're around certain things. But I mean, like I said, I texted or I emailed Buffalo back in the day, 2011, about an idea, and they were interested. But I hadn't done my stuff yet. I didn't write the script. I didn't do the pitch deck because I didn't really know then.
Yeah.
And but they got back to me, man, which was cool. And Matthew, he's there for filmmakers, obviously, like he said, doors open. Yeah. Send him if you have a pitch, if you have a script, if you have an idea, or if you have content, reach out to him because he's a solid dude. I could, I don't know him personally, but just by talking to him and hearing what he's doing, I mean, obviously he's a stand-up guy.
That's what's up. We got to have him back on, man. But I say we come back and we talk about Made in Mexico.
Well, thanks for giving the shout out right to David, because and it's great that he knows Clay because Clay's going to be checking out Made in Mexico. Yeah. In Made in Mexico, I'll give you an update. Music got delivered on Friday from Sammy and Caesar. Rich is dumping it in this week. I'm going to have that cut, and then I'm going to go through. And it's interesting because when we were talking earlier, Dave, Lopez breaks my balls because he calls me the link letter. Richard Linkletter, fucking life, boys' life, because it's been a while since I made
10-year production, bro.
Dude, I mean, it's been a while, but because it's been a while, I'm not gonna lie. Like the guy who's putting together the color correcting, he had more time with it because the music wasn't ready. Yeah, and he was gonna do a few scenes. Now he's done more scenes, and it's turning out incredible. The same with Rich. I mean, Rich is more or less like almost like a partner now. Like we're gonna do more projects together. Yeah, but
he's a good partner to have, man.
Yeah, he's a talented dude, and he started. His thing was only gonna be 20 minutes right before Rona hit. And then Rona hit, and everything. His work dried up. So he said, "Look, I like what you're doing. Yeah, I like the story. I liked everything here.
Yeah.
And I also gave him the freedom to do his thing. And then he just took it and ran. And, there's no way I would have. He's a producer on the film. So I made him a producer, and he's just really helped out a lot. But yeah, there's a silver lining in everything. I mean, getting my balls broke being called Linkletter because my films take it daily. I can't even pitch Lopez right now because all he says is, "Where's the movie?"
He's like, "No, dude."
And I'm like,
"Let's finish the first one first."
I mean, but you've seen it, Dave, and he's seen it too.
Yeah.
So you guys both know. Roberts too.
Yeah.
Roberts. The funniest thing, us Mexicans, we like to break balls. We want you to see, but we want to break your balls. And when we sat down on that couch that day at Lopez's house, like I was like, I could already tell the energy, like, and all I saw Roberts kind of changed, went from to like interested,
right,
and then Lopez like Tootie and a couple of the jabs and the ribs. I was like, hey, and they were genuinely excited when it wrapped. And Lopez had notes,
sure,
which I took, and Roberts stood up and clapped his hands together and his mouth salivated. He goes, "Let me tell you how you're going to make money off of this. Let me tell you." And that fool even texted me the next morning. First thing. He said, "Maybe you should consider." I said, "Okay, so this fool's thinking." So I know it has potential.
It does, man. It does. It's a really good film. And like, even me, like, I always put myself in the consumer seat too. And I had a couple notes that something as a movie viewer.
Yeah, exactly.
Expected.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't far off, man. It was really entertaining. And, it's a one-of-a-kind film. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, in about 2 weeks, Dave, because I'm giving Rich has this week, and then probably one more week we're gonna do with all the mixing and everything. Put the color correcting and the sound design, which is all being worked on. It's been being worked on. It's all he just has to mix everything and dump everything and put it together. And we'll have a movie, dude, by the end of this month.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really cool.
Yeah.
Really
man.
cool, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Thank you, David. At least somebody on this podcast is excited for me. Robert, you rat bastard. But I'm going to try to get over to Matthew and see what he says, see what he thinks. Let him just watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, they have distribution. Who knows?
Very true.
I mean, maybe it's something that he goes like, hey, this would be great, here.
I'm sure he knows, just like Clay knows his audiences too. So
give it to them all.
Markets,
You know what I mean? Let's see what happens. So, but you know what's really cool too is the music that we used a lot of extreme, like we've talked about.
Man, that's really cool. Really cool.
And it's just, I don't know where you would go to get such good music other than extreme. I mean, I know there's other places, but they have such a variety, and you could find pretty much anything on there. And Russ is my guy. Russ really helped us out on this project. Appreciate you, Russ.
It's tough to get stuff that you like licensed right away and in one spot. So Extreme does that really really well. So
and everything going forward that I'm going to do is going to be with Extreme.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they just have everything. You don't. They're like Costco. You don't need to go anywhere else.
True.
Really, you can get everything there. You need a couch, boom. Oh, you need some tires for your car,
need
bam.
Some
there you go. You got some calzones, okay. I got everything.
Exactly.
You got everything. So
with all due respect, Russ.
Yeah, with all due respect, Russ. Shout out because you're Extreme Music and you guys are the best. So
extrememusic.com for all your music needs.
That's what's up. Good.
But yeah, no, Extreme Music is definitely the spot to go for your one-stop shop. Music. If you want to score, if you want some licensed pop tunes, they're all there, man.
You could even kind of like compose in there. You know what I mean? If you're that skilled, pull instrumentals and you can pull all that stuff.
Roberts is good at that.
Robert has like a musical.
That's true. I always forget that.
He's a musician. I mean, the homies. He blew us away at Lopez's house.
That's why he's so weird, bro.
That is why he's weird. No, he's a weird dude. Love you, bro. But Dave, I'm a little upset because we've been here for how long now? And the one thing we don't do, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, we never talk about the purple icon that everybody needs to go on, click, go to our podcast and rate us.
Rate us, review us, give us some suggestions, some feedback. All the podcast apps on your phone, on your iPad, if you're home at the computer, the laptop, hook us up with a review, man. Give us 5 stars. Or if you don't like us, give us 2 stars.
Or 2 stars. Or say, whatever you want. And you know what? Let's start reading some of the comments on air.
I think that's a good idea.
Give some shout outs.
Because this is the master class, bro. You know that.
It is a master class. Yeah. So what's up with Irate? We don't ever talk about Irate. Let's give some love to Irate.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. Yeah, man. We actually closed out our first year.
Did you really?
Our first full year, yeah.
Nice.
Of podcasts. And I think we're at 52 episodes this week.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, We did, I think, maybe 54, 55. We didn't use a few of them,
Yeah.
like when we started out. But yeah, man, it's grown a lot. We got a lot of feedback, a lot of positive, feedback from all our listeners. It's really cool, man. It's something that I'm proud of. I'm proud to do it with my brother.
Yeah.
My brothers, Travis and Christian.
Yeah.
We just have a good time. We hit on all the social stuff going on.
Yeah.
Just current events. We break balls on there too. Of course, we like to have fun. It's a little morning show vibe. So check it out, man.
Yeah. You know what's cool is even this podcast, it takes about a year to come into your own.
Yeah.
Any
Absolutely.
type of show.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, like if you go back and listen to the beginning, like the first few ones are good, but it's just kind of like, it's just something different. You know what I mean? Like it has to catch up. And even though it's you and I doing it today, I still feel like Robert's ain't here and we don't need his ass. No, I'm kidding, Robert. I'm kidding. We need you, brother.
Yeah, we
You're
do.
a guy.
Because he did quit before, remember?
He did quit, little punk.
Yeah, little punk.
Yes, but that's good, man.
But yeah, no, we're happy about it, and we're all right.
We're all right.
Couple minutes.
I'm hoping that sooner than later, shit starts opening up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like now these governors are saying, not to get all political.
Yeah.
Or these mayors are saying like we got to open now. Like we got to. So I'm hoping that shit, with the vaccine, all that stuff, just we get to open up and get back to where we're in person. Because although I like I'm used to phoners now.
Yeah.
It's something different.
We've mastered that already.
We've mastered it. But being in front of somebody and them and you could see what they like, what they don't like. You could read
there's
their body.
vibes.
No,
there's
it's vibes. So we'll get Matthew. There's quite a few guests that we've had on during this time that I want to get in person when we get to get out.
Yeah,
and
no.
do our thing. So
I hope so. I really am looking forward to this year, and
yeah,
I think it's all going to be positive, bro.
Yeah, and you know what, Dave, I kind of feel I'm feeling this, just you and I doing this. So maybe, we always listen, Robert. You're going to be around. Don't worry. Let's Get Entertainment is always going to be, but maybe there's an offshoot.
Hey,
you know what I
never
mean?
know, man.
Just two independent filmmakers out there, kind of, because Robert's is
trying
big time.
Trying
now.
to bust a nut. Yeah, he's already throwing his hat over the fence, bro.
Dude, he threw his hat. He would have got it. He threw a couple other people's hats. He said, "Oh, go get those too." It's all good.
Yeah, man. Well, this is Let's Get Into Entertainment,
the business of entertainment,
that's
and we'll be back next week.
We'll be back with Roberts, and thanks to ExtremeMusic.com.
Yep, that's what's up.
And we out of here.
Boom.